Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. I am back for part 2, but not like a lame part 2, like Jurassic Park part 2. It's more like the Rocky part 2, except not as cool as Rocky, but somewhere in between. It's part 2 of my video is what I'm saying. And if you haven't checked out part 1, just go back up to my page and you'll get these previous posts here that we just covered. We're starting here at post 1877, and we're going to move forward. I'm not going to read through these first. We're going to get right to them, so let's do just that. 22 minutes after the hour, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we get this AP News link. Siri in brackets. Facebook listens even after you remove app in brackets. Twitter geo-t. I'm assuming that's tracking and listening. You are under constant tracking surveillance. DARPA Q. All right, well, look, this all stems from DARPA. Okay, and DARPA is an old project. Most of you already know about DARPA, and if you don't, this has been part of the Pentagon project for a long time called LifeLog. And when the people got wind of LifeLog and didn't like the idea of LifeLog, which is essentially a program that was going to allow you to listen to everything, track everything, and predict everything, and basically follow every single aspect of everyone's life digitally. And when the public didn't like that, they canceled it and called it Facebook. Well, Facebook listens even after you remove the app. Siri the same way. They're all listening, right? This AP News link takes you here. AP exclusive. Google tracks your movements, like it or not. Huh, you don't say. Google wants to know where you go so badly that it records your movements even when you explicitly tell it not to. An Associated Press investigation found that many Google services on Android devices and iPhones store your location device, even if you've used a privacy setting that says it will prevent Google from doing so. Computer science researchers at Princeton confirmed these findings at the AP's request. For the most part, Google is upfront about asking permission to use your location information. An app like Google Maps will remind you to allow access to location if you use it for navigating. If you agree to let it record your location over time, Google Maps will display that history for you in a timeline that maps out your daily movements. Okay, well, that's essentially what LifeLog is, right? Mapping your daily movements. And now they've gotten so bold that they don't even bother to ask you. And even if you explicitly tell them not to, they do it anyway. Well, that sounds like a breach of contract to me for some reason. Sounds like they could be punished for that. Sounds like they should be punished for that. If it were up to me, all these knuckleheads, Zuckerberg, and really the people who actually designed Facebook, all of these idiots should be rounded up. And if it were up to me, I'd stick them in a white-walled room like a prison, except there'd be a bunch of cameras on them for about a decade. And then after a decade, we'll see how they feel about all this geo-tracking and listening on us. Q says you're under constant tracking surveillance. Yeah, look, I said it's just about time. I'm about ready to go back to a rotary phone. That's what I'm talking about. Give me the old rotary phone. How many would use a rotary phone? What do you say? Would you do it? All right, well, you get the idea. We're being spied on whether we like it or not, and we're going to have to start making decisions what we're going to do about it. As far as I'm concerned, we can deep six DARPA. Let's move on. Post 1878. Sick and disgusting. Judge Sarah Backus. And it takes us to this Fox link right here on Fox News. Woman arrested at extremist Muslim New Mexico compound moved to federal custody, sheriff says. Janie LaValle, one of the 5 suspects arrested at the extremist Muslim compound in northern New Mexico, has been transferred to the custody of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Taos County Sheriff Jerry Holgrefe said Tuesday. The remaining detainees are currently still in custody, the sheriff said. Siraj Wahaj, 40, another suspect from the compound, is being held on an outstanding warrant from Georgia, Holgrefe said, while the 3 others allegedly involved, Lucas Morton, Hudra Wahaj, and Subhana Wahaj, are still incarcerated pending the fulfillment of their release conditions. The defendants were arrested and 11 children were taken into custody during a raid August 4th on the compound near the Colorado state line. News of LaValle's transfer comes a day after a judge ruled against the request of prosecutors to keep the 5 suspects in prison. Judge Sarah Backus said although she was concerned by troubling facts, prosecutors failed to articulate any specific threats to the community. She set a $20,000 bond for each defendant and ordered that they wear ankle monitors and have weekly contacts with their attorneys. The children discovered at the compound earlier this month were both trained to use firearms and taught multiple tactical techniques in order to kill teachers, law enforcement, and other institutions they found corrupt, state prosecutors said on Monday. 3-year-old Abdul Ghani Wahaj, who had been missing since December, allegedly died amid a ritualistic religious ceremony, murder, held on the grounds in an effort to cast out demonic spirits, Reuters reported. It was a religious ritual carried out. It was a murder, a ritual intended to cast out demonic spirits from Abdul Ghani Wahaj, Taos County Prosecutor John Lovelace said. Public defenders argued the boy's father was trying to heal the child by reading passages from the Quran, but prosecutors claimed he was denying the boy medication. One of the children taken into custody claimed that the boy had died in February. The children said they were told the boy would be resurrected as Jesus, and guide them on which corrupt institutions to attack, NBC reported, citing investigators. Okay, well, look, those of you who follow my channel for a while know that I always try and inject at least a little bit of levity wherever I can. And I'm struggling to do that today. A lot of these stories are really, really terrible. We're bringing to light a lot of this darkness. And although I think overall that's a really good thing, these are tough stories, especially when it hits the kids. It really, this is, I don't know what to say. It's really tough for me, and I'm sure it's tough for you too. Look, this is murder. Teaching these kids to kill. And I can't believe that this knucklehead judge would put out a $20,000 bond. Now, look, I don't know the specifics of the law, so it's really hard for me to attack her on this, but this doesn't seem right. It seems like the situation itself, just where they were found, and from what we already understand of the story, it seems to me like $20,000 bond, ankle monitors. These people are going to try and skip town the second they can. So I think this is one for the New Mexico constituents to speak up to this Judge Sarah Backus, and I brought her up on Twitter yesterday. She needs to back us that asses up and start listening to her constituents, because this isn't okay. This is child murder, likely child rape, ritualistic behavior. This is the ugliest of the ugly, and this is the very thing that all those people like to pin on QAnon as saying that we are conspiracy theorists, and yet here it is, slapping you in the face. And Fox News, thankfully, they're at least covering part of the story, because we all know that nobody else is, right? They wouldn't bring up the extremist Muslim part. They wouldn't bring up the groomed to kill police and teachers part. This is the lowest of the low of humanity. And I don't ever advocate violence, but as far as I'm concerned, Sarah Backus needs to be dealt with. Now, I'm not saying in a violent way. I mean, she needs to get her email box flooded. She needs to get reminded. She needs to get every tweet, every single Facebook message. She needs to be reminded of exactly how we feel about this stuff. $20,000 bond. Are you kidding me? I think you understand what I'm trying to say here. I'm pumped up. It's not okay. And it's about time that her constituents let her know exactly how they feel about that. Post 1879. We get to some more good stuff. Another link to Fox News. Stunning findings on report of Catholic Church abuse. It's no longer stunning. It's no longer stunning. Pennsylvania priest molested more than 1,000 children. Robert Mizik, 47, said his life was taken away as an altar boy 35 years ago when he was abused by his parish priest at a Catholic church in suburban Philadelphia. He was one of the many accusers in a sweeping scandal encircling the Catholic Church in Pennsylvania. Hundreds of priests were said to have molested more than 1,000 children, and possibly many more, since the 1940s, and senior church officials, including a man who is now the Archbishop of Washington, D.C., allegedly covered up the abuse, according to a grand jury report released Tuesday. The real number of abused children might be in the thousands, since some secret church records were lost and victims were afraid to come forward, the grand jury said. We are sick over all the crimes that will go unpunished and uncompensated, the grand jury said. The grand jury accused Cardinal Donald Wuerl, who leads the Washington Archdiocese, of helping to protect abusive priests when he was Pittsburgh's bishop. Wuerl responded in part, "I sincerely hope that just assessment of my actions past and present and my continuing commitment to the protection of children will dispel any notions otherwise made by report." All right, look, I'm not going to get into the ugly parts of this. This is stuff that has been banging me over the head for months now. We keep talking about these priests and these cardinals and these bishops. And look, I understand that this is not Catholics we're talking about. But it seems from the priests on upwards, they're having a terrible, terrible batting record this season. And it just seems to be more and more and more, and the numbers keep growing and growing and growing. This is not a stunning finding. I'm sorry, I'm not stunned. Forgive me if I'm not stunned. House of God? I think not. Y'all have seen the Pope's chair. You've all seen the pictures of, the satanic thing that's coming up above the Pope's chair behind him. Look, we know this is pure evil. And like I said, I'm not talking about Catholic people. I'm not talking about the average Catholic. But there's clearly a problem with this church, and there's clearly a problem within its upper ranks. And it's every day. And the casualties are in the thousands. Q says that's only the beginning. Those who you're taught to trust the most. Yeah, your teachers, your leaders, your priests, your pastors. Expect many, many, many similar reports to surface from around the world. It goes a lot deeper. Connected. The choice to know will be yours. We've seen this all over the world. I reported long ago about the entire country of Chile lost all their bishops. And it's Pennsylvania, and last year it was Buffalo, Indiana. It's all over. It's rampant. And, look, it's ugly. It's hard to report. But I guess it's that whole dark to light thing. We're uncovering so much of this. And if there's one thing that at least gives me a little bit of peace that I can share with you, is that I guess I'd rather be here, seeing that, like Q said, thousands more joining QAnon, watching QAnon, thousands more every day joining and understanding this story from a deeper level. For those of us who have known about this stuff for many, many years, it doesn't give us much consolation. But if there's any from myself, it's knowing that we're getting this message out so much faster than we ever did before. And I guess that's the only consolation that I can find in this, because these are ugly, ugly stories. And it breaks my heart to think that these people would take advantage of people who want to find God. And when you distort that, you're a special kind of evil. And that's exactly what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with criminals. We're dealing with monsters. Let's talk about some more monsters. Post 1880, Haiti. That rhymes. And it takes you to this link right here. U.S. missionaries in Haiti charged with kidnapping. I'll play some of it for you.
10 American missionaries arrived in court in Port-au-Prince on Thursday. They believed that they would soon be set free.
We expect that God's will be done, and we will be released. We are looking forward to what God is going to do.
But a Haitian prosecutor decided the accusations against them were serious enough to build a criminal case. He charged them with child kidnapping and criminal association for trying to take 33 children out of the country without the required documentation.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. It's only a 2-minute clip. I'm going to explain this if you don't know. Many of you do. This is published back in 2010. This was Laura Silsby that was arrested. This lady that you're looking right here that said, God's will be done. Where's she at? There she is, her ugly face right there. Okay, she ended up remarrying, becoming Laura Gaylor, and came back to the U.S. after being arrested not once, twice in Haiti. 33 kids, and they weren't orphans. And she was trying to take them across the border. And she got popped. Whole crew of them did. And I did a whole video on this. Please check out In Pursuit of Truth Presents Connecting a Crisis. And it talks all about Haiti. At least a good chunk about it. Of course, it's not totally comprehensive, but it talks a lot about Silsby here. Now, Silsby, she ended up getting held. She was with a group of people, and they all got arrested, but they got let go. She got held behind because she'd been previously arrested doing the same thing before. And then she got herself a lawyer, and that lawyer was Jorge Puello. And Jorge Puello had been arrested for the same damn thing and ended up having to revoke his license. And his wife, Jorge Puello's wife, was in prison for the same damn thing. So who came to her rescue? Bill Clinton. And it's part of the WikiLeaks emails. He asked about her. They took great interest, and he basically got her off. She ended up, I don't know if what the exact punishment is. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering off the top of my head. But the fact of the matter is that this lady came back to the States. She got married, changed her name to Laura Gaylor, and she ended up becoming VP over at Amber Alert. The same company, Alert Sense is essentially the company, and it's the same company that goes looking for missing children. These same creeps get recycled back and forth into this system. Now, Q goes on to give us this, says, read very carefully. Sunday nights, Matt Doran goes undercover with Operation Underground Railroad to bring down Haiti child sex ring. This is from back in 2017. And who is afraid of the water? The question from a former special agent with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security is directed at a group of children being held against their will in a rusted home hidden in the hills of Pétionville in the Republic of Haiti. The undercover human trafficking operative produces an iPhone and shows the children an image of a luxury yacht moored nearby in the Caribbean. There's a moment of awkward laughter before gradually a few tiny arms shoot up in the air. Oui, they say in Creole, explaining that they're scared. With us are a dozen children who've been released by their captors from locked rooms at the back of the property. They are aged between 8 and 14 years old. They're sex slaves, child trafficking victims who spent their formative years servicing the carnal desires of men, often foreigners who are 3, 4, 5, or 6 times their age. Their madam tells me that many of their customers are Western humanitarian workers who've come here to help rebuild Haiti after the recent run of natural disasters. Well, that's how it works. And I've said this a million times. Many of you guys already understand how it works. For those of you who don't, that's exactly what happens. These Western humanitarian groups come in there promising to rebuild Haiti, very much like the Clinton Foundation did. They were supposed to build a whole bunch of houses. The only thing they built was a whole bunch of trouble. And Hillary's brother went in there and got his gold mining going on. And meanwhile, these kids are getting raped. Well, this article, I'm not going to read the whole thing, because it infuriates me. I'll, of course, leave it for you. But the great thing is that they're talking about this this sting that they pulled. And here we go. Let me take you here. 2 brave Australians are among the rescue team on the ground in Haiti. They're talking about this underground railroad. Pete is a father and top paramedic. His colleague, Vivienne, is a mother of 2 and a former detective with more than 2 decades of experience. They were recruited by Operation Underground Railroad for their skills as covert investigators. They can't be identified for fear of reprisal attacks from traffickers with international tentacles. My role in the Haiti operation is to care for the children once the traffickers deliver them to beach resort where the sting will go down, says Vivienne. Keep them calm, keep them safe while the traffickers are given their cash before the police move in. What goes through my head is the whole mother instinct, wanting to nurture them, give them a hug, and say it's going to be okay. What's gut-wrenching is that I actually don't know if it's going to be okay. Pete is on standby for any medical emergencies to treat any injuries should the traffickers bring weapons or become violent when the SWAT team moves in for the arrest. You start to think, okay, what if this is my child? How would I be? What would I feel? And it pulls you apart, Pete says. There's a temptation for us at times in our bubble in Australia to dismiss this as someone else's problem. We're different cultures, different races, different countries, but we're all human beings. As word comes through that the traffickers and the children are now en route, we put the final touches on a series of hidden cameras and microphones which will capture the evidence needed for the Haitian authorities. Okay, so thankfully, this particular story has a good ending. All told, 9 traffickers end up in handcuffs and 30 children are placed into the care of experienced trauma counselors. The rescue team is now working directly with the Haitian president on the prosecution of the traffickers arrested. For most of the children, this is their first taste of freedom in many years. So this is a horrible story, and forgive me, I'm having a hard time reading it. I'm going to leave it for you. You get the idea. And Haiti is, it probably has gotten hit the worst. They have had to deal with natural disasters. They've had to deal with the Clintons, and they've had to deal with this. And these guys, they park their boats off the water, and they promise them these parties and money. And this is what these kids get. This is the freedom that these kids get. And so it really makes you think about, I know for me, how thankful that I was that I wasn't exposed to this as a child. And God bless the guys that are going after these bastards. I'd be one of them. Q goes on to quote this article. Child trafficking victims who spent their formative years servicing the carnal desires of men, often foreigners. I already read this part, okay? It's awful. And all I can say is, I really hope this Whopper with cheese comes real soon. I'm ready to see these knuckleheads go down. I'm ready to see Hillary Clinton go down for all this because she's a big, big part of what went on in Haiti. And this goes around all over the world. This is happening. This is the biggest problem, in my opinion, that we face in our world. Because if we don't fix this kind of thing, what kind of society are we? What kind of human society are we? I don't care if it's on the border of Mexico and the United States or if it's in Haiti. It's the same thing. It's kids. It's our kids. And it needs to stop. And it's time that we wake more people up because everybody needs to know about this. Let's move on. Q goes on to add on here, in post. 1881. This is far from a vigilante group. Leading the team is ex-Department of Homeland Security Special Agent Tim Ballard. Well, thank you, Tim Ballard. Perhaps America's foremost human trafficking expert. The problem in Haiti is an international crisis, Ballard explains. With so many children displaced or orphaned during the recent earthquake and hurricane, recruiters move quickly to sweep these children up. And the worst part of it all is that in many cases, the clients are the foreigners who've come there to help. The NGO workers and the so-called humanitarians. And so I think if you're new to all this, I implore you to look into these humanitarian aid groups, all of them, because so many of them are exactly this, pure evil. Q's got hunters, in brackets, and we're coming for you, all of you, every single one of you. Become the hunted. The more you know. Q. Post 1882, we get this NBC peacock logo and a BBC.com link. Q says, read very carefully. This is from back in November 2016. U.S. election 2016. What really happened with the Clintons in Haiti? Donald Trump has said the work of Bill and Hillary Clinton in Haiti was a disgrace. What really happened? The Clinton family, they're crooks, they're thieves, they're liars, says Haitian activist Dahoud Andre. He has been leading protests outside the Clinton Foundation headquarters in Manhattan, in Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign base in Brooklyn for the last 2 years. He said protesters from a small activist group, the Committee to Mobilize Against Dictatorship in Haiti, will continue to level their allegations, so far all unproven. If the Democratic candidate debate when he told Miss Clinton, I was at a little Haiti the other day in Florida, and I want to tell you, they hate the Clintons because what's happened in Haiti with the Clinton Foundation is a disgrace. Mrs. Clinton retorted that she was proud of the foundation's work and pointed out her rival's namesake charity had spent money on a life-size portrait of himself, which is kind of sweet. The Clintons' history with the world's first black republic dates back to their 1975 honeymoon when they met a voodoo priest and visited a hotel where Ernest Hemingway once stayed. Few could have guessed, the two young Americans touring the attractions, that December would one day wield such influence over the impoverished Caribbean island nation. Mr. Andre is not alone among his compatriots in blaming the once and perhaps future first couple for a litany of ills in Haiti. Kim Ives, editor of Haiti Liberté newspaper, told the BBC, a lot of Haitians are not big fans of a Clinton, that's for sure. The fact that Clinton kind of took over things after the earthquake and did a pretty poor job of it translates to why the Haitians have a pretty dim view of them, he added. Replicated mistakes. Mrs. Clinton was Secretary of State and Mr. Clinton was UN Special Envoy to Haiti when the January 2010 earthquake struck, killing an estimated 220,000 people. Some $13.3 billion was pledged by international donors for Haiti's recovery. Mr. Clinton was appointed co-chairman of the interim Haiti Recovery Commission, along with Haitian Prime Minister Jean-Max Bellerive. And then it goes on to talk about basically all this foreign aid that they were getting. Mr. Clinton's own office at the UN found 9% of the foreign aid cash went to the Haitian government and 0.6% to local organizations. The bulk of it went to UN agencies, international aid groups, private contractors, and donor countries' own civilian and military agencies. There you go again. All the humanitarians got the money and the people got 0.6%. For example, the Pentagon billed the State Department hundreds of millions of dollars for sending U.S. troops to hand out bottled water and keep order on the streets of Haiti's ravaged capital, Port-au-Prince. Jake Johnston, an analyst with the Center for Economic and Policy Research, a nonpartisan group that has studied the quake reconstruction, told the BBC it's hard to say it's been anything other than a failure. But he believes the State Department and IHRC simply replicated the mistakes of the whole foreign aid industry by chasing short-term gains instead of building longer-term capacity on the ground. They relied too much on outside actors, Mr. Johnston said, and supplanted the role of the Haitian government and domestic producers. While the Clintons in their respective roles clearly had a say over where some of the quake relief cash flowed, their political enemies have wrongly claimed the Family Foundation directly controlled all the billions in funds. The foundation itself raised a relatively modest $30 million for aid projects in Haiti. A spokeswoman for the charity told the BBC, every penny of the more than $30 million raised was deployed on the ground with no overhead taken by the Clinton Foundation. All right, well, we all know that's a lie. That's not what happened. They were out there, they were supposed to build a bunch of houses, and they sure didn't. Okay, meanwhile, Hillary's brother was mining gold out there. and they were selling medical equipment, they were selling medicine, and they were trafficking kids out there. And then on top of it, they had the nerve to worry everybody about the possibility of Trump winning the presidency. Let me take you down here. The Clinton Foundation rebutted any suggestion of special favors, saying that in the aftermath of the Haiti quake, they worked with a wide range of partners to mobilize relief efforts immediately, and many people they had previously worked with responded to this call for help. The charity statement to the BBC continued, President Clinton and the Clinton Foundation's only goal in Haiti is to help the people of Haiti. Since 2010, the foundation has worked on the ground in Haiti with a range of partners, helping more than 7,500 farmers lift themselves out of poverty, improving the Haitian government by planting more than 5 million trees and installing more than 400 kilowatts of clean energy, and supporting women through literacy training and job skills for over 2,000 women. All right, yeah, sounds great. Sounds absolutely great. And now here they're talking about Trump. Instead of allowing these questions to linger and fester, why not come clean? The questions will not go away. They will continue. As for Mr. Trump's attempt to woo Haitian American voters, it may prove a long shot, given his threats to round up millions of undocumented immigrants. So there's your classic projection right there, and that's not exactly how it went down. And actually, Mr. Trump went over there and was welcomed with open arms, and they begged him to take down Hilary Clinton. That's what happened. Jeff Lozama, chairman of the Haitian American Chamber of Commerce of Florida, told the BBC that regardless of misgivings about the Clintons' work in Haiti, his countrymen and women in the diaspora overwhelmingly hope she wins election on 8th November. Yeah, well, we know how that worked out. He says many of them fear what a Trump presidency could mean for their U.S. status. Yeah, it could mean some awesomeness is what it could mean. All right. So it looks to me like Q is getting us ready to understand that Haiti is going to be coming to the forefront. Let's hope it does. I'm about ready for this thing to bust wide open. But the interesting thing is here is at the end of this post, Q posted the more you know, which of course is NBC's tag phrase, and also brought in NBC here. And of course, there was a lot of coverage out there by NBC during this whole period of time too, which makes me think that they were most likely complicit. And it's just another reason for NBC to hate Trump. It's just another reason for us to not watch NBC, and it's another reason for NBC to panic about Q Anon. After all, we like to read very carefully. Let's move on. Now, the next post, 1883, are two links that you've seen before, and I'm going to show them to you, but I'm not going to play them if you don't mind, because I get hit for a lot of, I get hit for a lot of copyright content and stuff, and these are long videos, but these are important videos. I do suggest you watch them. This one is entitled "This Video Will Get Donald Trump Elected," and the second one is a speech from Ronald Reagan entitled "We Must Fight," and I will leave these links here for you. I do suggest that you read them. They are good pick-me-ups, but I think more importantly, throughout all this ugliness that we've looked at today, these are important to remind us of why we're here. Q says we stand together. And this together is getting bigger and bigger every single day. And this was pretty ugly stuff today. A lot of ugly information, a lot of dark to light needs to come out. But it's better that it's coming to light, because at least now we can start dealing with it. At least now we can start educating the general public of it. And it can start coming out. And we can start exposing the NBCs of the world. And we can start exposing the Clintons of the world. And what can I say? Sometimes these are tough days, and I think for myself, I try to remind myself that these are the days when it's the most important to show up. It's the most important to get through the hard days, because only then are you going to appreciate the wins. Only then are you going to be able to appreciate the moral victories, the real moral victories. It's only after you bust your ass exercising that you really appreciate that piece of cake, right? We got to earn our cake. So there are your Q posts. As always, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. As always, all my links are down below, to my Gab, to my BitChute, to my Real.Video, to my Patreon, to my Twitter. It's all down below. Check that out. Please pass this message around. More and more people need to know what happened in Haiti. This is a massive, massive deal, because when they understand what happened in Haiti, they're going to understand what's happening at our own border, because it's the same thing, and it needs to stop. And it's up to you and I to decide where we spend our money, to decide what programs we watch or don't watch, to decide how we spend our time with our children, where we send them, and essentially how we're going to allow our communities to develop. because it's no longer up to them anymore. After all, we stand together. Where we go one, we go all. That's all I got for you today. This is Sir Patrick Mack with In Pursuit of Truth. Please keep love in your heart. Stay optimistic. Keep winning. And I'll see you next time.